video for those with children. Scheduling your time for childcare pickups. I'm on my way to pick up my youngest from grade school. So you kind of either have to do scheduling, carpooling, busing, aftercare, after school care. It's something you have to remember. You have to. Most people say, of course. You have to be careful with your scheduling. My daughter's in a nursing program right now, and they're kind of haphazard. I'm not really pleased with the school she's going to. I'm not going to name it. They're just not as prepared, the curriculum, as I would have expected. One of the things you are taught as a nurse or nursing student, one of the first things they want you to do, besides hand hygiene, that's lesson number one. The first lesson they're trying to get into your head is how to think differently, think like a nurse. That's the phrase my professors always used. Even when I came on board to the hospital, that was now and then bandied about by the educators and whatever. They want you to stop thinking like a layperson. They want you to think like a nurse. They want you to cluster your care, group your activities together, group your med pass together, so you're efficient. And surprisingly, my daughter's curriculum, wow, it's just from what she's telling me, I'm like, that's so haphazard. And I could tell they're not happy with whoever the team leader is, because the program director already called my daughter back to reassure her and whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't happen. I'm not on day 2. So your mileage will vary with nursing programs, schools, even cohorts, depending on who the team leader is. But teaching you how to think like a nurse, clustering care, pre-planning, and that's part of like childcare. This is kind of started like childcare because I want you guys to plan for that. You have to be aware of that. That's something, I've been planning and prepping for my daughter, knowing that my time is very, very, I'm sorry, this lady took her daughter out on the roadside of the car. It's stupid. I'm sorry, it's just not safe, It's just not safe. I've had 6 kids. You learn what to do, but, you can tell it's just, whatever. critique. I'm sorry, I'm very critical of that. The planning of childcare and planning, just pre-planning as a nurse, is very critical. It's going to save your day. As a nurse, plan out your activities. As a parent, pre-planning will help you as a nursing student, so you're not caught unawares. So you're not like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I've had classmates and schoolmates, just not in my cohort, have to bring their children to class with them, and you can hear them in the hallway. Teachers are understanding usually. I never saw an instance where the professors made a comment, but obviously they did, because the school then made a comment and said, hey, look, you can't just let your kids run rampant. It was a program-wide announcement. You have to find some kind of childcare. You can't just leave them unattended like that. But people are stuck up against the wall. They're not stuck up. They're up against the wall. That's what I meant to say. They're up against the wall. They have no choice. I understand that. And a lot of us were like, oh, if we didn't have class, we would definitely watch their kids. Because a lot of us, like I said, in my program, have kids. You know, I was the only one where my kids were basically mostly grown. You know, other people had kids same age as my youngest, but I was the only one with kids that were college already. Even the ones that were the same age as me, their kids were about 3 or 4 years behind my oldest, my next oldest. She's in college now. She's a junior in college now. So at that time she was like a freshman or senior in high school, freshman in college, and they were like, my friends' kids were like freshmen, sophomores in high school, but you know, teenagers. So you know, what I'm talking about is like 5 or 6 year olds, you know, 9 year olds tops, you know, babies, toddlers. I had a couple classmates that were pregnant, you know, and gave birth in that and during the program. So these are issues you need to plan ahead on, and is one of the things they want you to learn is to manage your time management, calendar management, if you want to say it. That's kind of taught kind of forcibly. My daughter's program is completely haphazard. I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's a freaking mess. That's ridiculous. You know, I'm critiquing as a nurse, not as a nursing student. As a nurse, I'm like, wow. So I'd smack the professors upside the head. So what are you doing? You know, this is not what we were taught in nursing school. You cluster your care, you cluster your assignments, you cluster your activities, you cluster them. So you're efficient, you're more efficient. You know, there's always going to be some inefficiency because you can't deal with patients. You know, they want what they want. They need what they need. You can't schedule that all the time. And that's the hardest part of nursing day to day, is managing that, because every day is not the same. Maybe it gets close if you're in long-term care. Patients are regular, but you're sad to say you're going to have different patients every now and then, because some will leave. You get new ones and they'll have their schedule. So you do have some change. It's a lot more glacial in its pace than bedside med surg. It's a free-for-all, and depending on the unit that you're on, it could be really bad or just, you know, somewhat bad, but your mileage will vary. You know, my friend just got floated to an orthopedic floor, and she was like, oh my God, it was insane. She walked in literally to an RRT, like at 6:30, RRT was called. And I'm like, on an orthopedic? What happened? They broke their other foot? You know, I mean, it's jokingly, you know, they're really supposed to be with it. They're mostly elective and stuff like that. You know, it's like, what? Whereas ours is, we're dealing with strokes or COVID on the other unit, or cardiac. Those are our patients. So yeah, it's a little bit more acute in that sense. But you plan as much as you can and you deal with it. Childcare is, going back to the original point of this video, is something you do need to plan out very well and have backups. You know, either with your partner, your friends, classmates, and I'm talking about your child's classmates, their parents. You know, make friends, network. You got to have backup, because you're, as a nursing student, not allowed to miss things. You know, that's something it's very stressful. My daughter's seeing that now firsthand. She's a student, very diligent student, but now she's like, wow, this is a whole different level. I said, yeah, it's a whole quantum level of differential. Sorry, it's my new watch alarm. It's telling me get my ass moving, pick her up. I highly recommend reminders like that. They'll help you organize your day, because your memory is only as good as your memory. So a short note is always better than a long memory, always. So a short note, short reminder, always better than your memory. Okay? Good luck.